Greetings from Snake Mountain Boat Works on Saturday, December 31, 2016, the end of the year. And at some point, this 1946 Chris Craft Brightside U22 will stop fighting us. As you can see, as you scan down the starboard face of the bottom, finally we have all of the ribs and frames in place, but the boat bit us twice right at the end here. First, this is the brand new steering box mount, which we fabricated in two pieces that will be carriage bolted together and obviously glued together. We were performing one final check of every component of the bottom, and if you look at an earlier video, John and I were guessing that this mounting block would need some work. It mounts right here on the top side of the starboard bilge stringer. So I reached in there and I came out with a handful of rotted wood. The thing just fell apart. Well, it was a replacement. I know it was a replacement. How do I know? Because it was softwood, not hardwood. How could you possibly fabricate, and as you can see, it's a very complex shape, fabricate the steering box mount out of softwood? Every time you crank on that steering wheel, there's all sorts of forces visited on this mount. So John and I redesigned it. What was in there before we ripped it all out stopped right here and was essentially floating in space and probably wobbled on day one. So we have extended it. We've done it in two pieces that we can carriage bolt together and then mount to the bilge stringer. Trust me, this white oak steering box mount is not going to move. But you can also guess this is not a simple item to fabricate, because the faces have to be beveled and the bevel changes continuously. John was getting so frustrated I finally just walked out of the room with burning ears. But were that not enough, as we scan down this beautiful port side, we come back to this rib, this frame, and as you can see, it's missing its cross tie. We will later today actually fabricate a new frame as well, because it is broken right in the middle. It's difficult to see, but when I grabbed it, it was able to move back and forth. Well, that's a pretty significant frame member, because the prop shaft runs right through there. The stuffing box is going to be right in here somewhere, and that frame has got to be solid. And if we walk forward, you can see here's the cross tie that had totally failed. And as soon as I grabbed onto this, we were backing out some screws just to make sure we had new fasteners in all of them, and to our horror discovered a couple of old fasteners. And we were also in the process, as we've done with every one of these, of skimming these faces on both sides with 5200 before we put them together. So here's the new cross tie. It's been fabricated, received 3 coats of CPES, and painted. As soon as we finished fabricating the 2 frames, we can put everything together. Here on the port side, we also see every frame in place. We've just got the one that must be replaced. It's all a single unit, so it'll be replaced on this side as well. Still waiting for us is bolting down and securing the keel. It will be bedded in 5200 at every frame. And then, as we described in an earlier clip, every new frame, here we have one, there's another one right back there. All the new frames need to have a final fit. Then we will temporarily install the chine plank on both sides so that we can determine how much of this edge needs to be sanded away, at which point the plank will go on permanently, and we will begin applying plywood to the bottom. Every single frame will be completely coated with 5200. The intermediate frames will be, the battens will also be coated and set in place, bedded in 5200. By the time we have the final planks in place, we will have gone through at least 120 tubes of 3M 5200, at least. As Dannenberg says, the worst sin you can commit at this point, after going through all of this, is to lay down the inner layer of 1/8 inch plywood, followed by the 3/8 inch thick bottom planks. If you don't have really obvious squeeze out everywhere, you're taking shortcuts. You've done all this work only to cheat at the end and not have a bottom that is as secure as it should be. We will coat each of these frames with at least an 1/8 inch thick layer of 5200, and then as we put the outer planks on, starting from the outboard plank towards the keel, we will frost. I mean, it's just like frosting a cake, and our frosting will be a minimum of an 1/8 inch thick. So by the time we screw each plank in place, we will have copious amounts of 5200 squeezing out of the seams. That tells you you've got an absolutely continuous bladder between the plywood and the outer planks, and you have a bottom that's all but bomb-proof. But the good news is, as her owner shared with me in a recent communication, oh my goodness, she finally is beginning to look like a boat again. So that's our update on New Year's Eve 2016. John, RJ, and I wish all of you a Happy New Year and great boating in 2017 and beyond. Bye-bye for now. Thank you so much from Snake Mountain Boat Works.